Well, on this week's Out and About, Barney takes us to Lafayette, where one of the most complete Frank Lloyd Wright houses stands today.
Nestled in a canopy of beautiful trees, there's a treasure in West Lafayette, Indiana. Thanks to the John E. Christian Family Memorial Trust Incorporated and Indiana Landmarks, welcome to Frank Lloyd Wright's Samara. What does the word Samara mean?
Well, Samara is a botanical term that means winged seed or winged fruit. Kind of like the helicopter seeds that come from maple trees. They can come from a whole variety of trees other than maple trees. They can come from elm trees, ash trees, redbud trees, all different varieties that grow on the property here at Samara.
And why did he choose that name?
Well, when Frank Lloyd Wright is designing any property, he thinks of a natural theme or a natural motif for the property. And with the Samaras already growing on the trees here, Frank Lloyd Wright sees that as like a natural identifier of this property. And so he incorporates it into every design element in this house he designed for the Christian family.
How would you refer to, you know, this structure? Is this a work of art? Is this an architecture design? Is this a home? What do you think this is?
It's pretty difficult to put a note on just home or just a work of art. This house is equally both of those things. Frank Lloyd Wright once said, "I believe the house is more home by being a work of art itself." And so I think it's really an interesting fusion of artistry and functionality in this house.
At what point was this house constructed in his career? And was this like in a specific architectural period of Frank Lloyd Wright's career? Or was this like in the middle, near the end, you know? Yeah. Or was it like a certain style, you know, like Falling Water is a certain kind of period?
Well, Frank Lloyd Wright practiced architecture for nearly 72 years of his life, and I consider Samara a very fine example of his late career work. Near the end of his career, he was designing what he called Usonian style homes. Usonian is a term, it's like a shorthand way of saying United States own, U.S. own, Usonian.
That's what that term means.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like a type of architecture that belongs to the United States of North America. And with that in mind, Frank Lloyd Wright wanted a type of architecture that was accessible, affordable, and beautiful. And Usonian homes live up to that highest ideal.
Who were John and Catherine Christian?
Well, John and Catherine Christian were a local couple. John was from Indianapolis, and Catherine is from Storm Lake, Iowa. And they had met at Purdue University in the 1940s, just after World War II.
Well, and then how did they come in connection with Frank Lloyd Wright? Like, did they know him? Did they want to just build their dream home? And like, was this their dream home?
For sure, this was their dream home, but they didn't necessarily find out about Frank Lloyd Wright until, well, a bit of luck and quite a bit of persistence.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of persistence?
Well, years of waiting and lots of telephone calls, I'll put it that way.
Waiting for Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yes, yes. But from the very start, the Christians knew.
They saw it and they were like, that's it.
Yeah, they saw
this is the guy.
This is their guy. Well, she took all her notes and research, her family's dreams and wishes, and she compiled it into a 30-page proposal to Frank Lloyd Wright titled "What We Need for How We Live." It includes.
What did he think of that? Or was that a common thing to do?
It was an uncommon thing to do.
I bet that's why he was like,
impressed.
yeah, I'll call you. I'll talk to you soon.
But here's Frank Lloyd Wright nearing the end of his career. He knows how to design a good house already. Who needs to tell him how to do his job? But I think he saw something in the Christians. He saw a good challenge and a passion in them.
So Dr. Christian, met with Frank Lloyd Wright in 1956. And then how long has this process been going?
Over 60 years. As time went on, as money could afford, and as it could even find an artist to make some of these custom Wright design items, they completed the house over that long period of time. So sure, the house was completed enough in 1956 to live here, but to get it the way as we see it today took a lot of dedication from the Christian family. In fact, Dr. Christian, he was still living here at the age of 98 years old. He's the 8th last original homeowner of a Frank Lloyd Wright design house, and passed away here on his birthday, July 12th of 2015.
And so this was a lived-in home that whole entire time?
Lived in and enjoyed and loved. And it goes back to a really important quote from Mrs. Christian when they first met Frank Lloyd Wright. In her 30-page booklet titled What We Need for How We Live, in the introduction, she states, "We wish to have a house one day, a home and its surroundings that would have a future that would grow with us." So it grew with the Christian family over 60 years and continues to grow to this day from guests from all across the world.
Thankfully, organizations like Indiana Landmarks and the John E. Christian Family Memorial Trust Incorporated work together to preserve this extraordinary property and share its remarkable story. You can be part of this living history too by making a donation. I'm Barney Wood. Thanks for watching.
I love a good property with a lot of mature trees over the house.
I
So that
know.
has a lot going for it.
Yep.
But I also love...
Hence the name Samara.
Yes, that was such a great story. And I love that
Thank
you
you.
wore a Frank Lloyd Wright tie.
I did.
If anybody else
I
does
had to
that.
like go with the scene and
Yes.
be part of it. We love Frank Lloyd Wright. You know, his whole life story and a lot of the structures, and so I was really interested in that. And there was just so much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the most complete structures in the world of Frank Lloyd Wright, all the way down to the table, the chairs, the carpet, everything. Were all part of him, and that was part of a caveat to the Christians getting that house. Was that they didn't have the money like in 1956, but they would just keep building and building and building and building and building.
I love that. Yeah, Mama Christian sounded like a woman after my own heart, just kind of shooting her shot, so to speak, with Frank Lloyd Wright, saying, this is what we need for how we live. I'm going to give this to you, and sort of putting it in his hands. And what a gracious man to, you know, let it happen.
At first I would think he would just be like, I know how to build a house and throw it away.
Right.
But I think he noticed the passion there. And that document is at the house.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
Awesome.
there and you see it. And she knew exactly what she wanted, just like you.
Yep, exactly.
And Frank Lloyd Wright's wife even kind of helped her out with some of the color choices and things like that. And just a fascinating story, and it just never ends.
No.
With Frank Lloyd Wright, there's always something, and it just keeps going and going. And people who are really historians about him, just the information just is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It just goes on and on.
Yeah, well, speaking of what goes on and on, the show goes on and on.